Well, hello, Rockhounds, Lapidary lovers. Mike here. Welcome back to my channel. So what's going on today? Well, up here on the workbench, I've got this whole big bucket of amethyst. Yeah, nice purple amethyst. I got this about a year ago, maybe a little more than that even, from my buddy Jim. I was visiting him out in Phoenix. Jim is my mentor in all things lapidary. And he gave me this big bucket of amethyst. And you'll have to remind me, Jim, did you say you mined this yourself? I think you said this was Four Peaks amethyst from there in Arizona, but I can't remember if you said you mined it yourself. This is some interesting stuff. It's got some nice inclusions in it. Not only has it got the nice purple to it, it actually looks like rutilated quartz, a lot of it. It's got the nice inclusions in it. I hope they're showing up. So I think this is going to be some fantastic stuff to tumble. My original plan for this stuff was just to use it as media when I'm tumbling soft rocks. But I decided that, you know what, looking at it, this stuff's too pretty. It needs to be tumbled in its own right. I do hope that rutilated pattern is showing up. I'll give you a close-up with my phone of some of these really pretty pieces. And these have already been through stage 1. Jim gave them to me. They're already rounded off nice. So they just need to go into stage 2 and beyond and turned into something really amazingly beautiful, I think. I think these are just way too nice to be tumbling media, which was my original plan. Jim, did you know this stuff was rutilated when you gave it to me? So I never really looked all that close at it, but I'll set out a few pieces and wet them and get you some close-up looks at them because they are really, really pretty. Yeah, so here's just a few random pieces pulled off the top of the pile in there. Look at that. Is that beautiful or what? That's going to be amazing, fully tumbled. I just wet them down so they're nice and shiny, but that's kind of what they're going to look like when they're fully tumbled. So I need to get these into a tumbler drum and get them going, that's for sure. So I can't wait to see what they look like when they're done. So here's an empty tumbler drum. This 4.5 pound drum, I just emptied it out. Got some beautiful rocks in it that have been through polish. I'm going to make sure these get in there because they are amazing. But I got a feeling a lot of these are going to be amazing when they're tumbled. Richard, I think I gave you some of this stuff with it too without even noticing how rutilated it was. So you might want to look at the amethyst. I think I gave you some, and check it out. It might be seriously amazing tumbled. All right, so let me get, that's about all I want to put in there, I think, because I need to have room for media. Since we're starting at stage 2, we're going to start with some media. I'm going to use ceramic media. I'm going to use a lot of it. I find that quartz and amethyst, they're kind of soft. So I'm using a softer media. I have a lot of scrap agate media too, but that's a very hard media. So I don't think I want to use that. Let's get some water on it here. And I'm going to go with a fairly thick slurry, so I'm not going to put a whole lot of water in it. A good inch down from the top, maybe. Yeah, maybe even a little more media. A nice thick slurry. Let me get the 220 grit, and we'll put some in there and get this thing spinning. Since quartz, and well, amethyst is quartz, they're kind of a soft rock. I like a thick slurry when I'm dealing with soft rocks. So I'm going to put a little more grit in than I normally would, and a little less water. We'll make a thick slurry, and we'll see if we can get the rocks polished up without beating the crap out of them against each other and continuing to make fractures and dents in them. So let me get this lidded up, and we'll get it on the tumbler, and we'll see what we've got after we get it through this 220, 400, and then polish. And I think they're going to be amazing. So I'm not sure I'm going to show you all the intermediate steps. Maybe we'll just wait until they're done, then have a look at it. So here we are over at my tumbling station. As you can see, I have a lot of rock tumblers, a couple small ones up front here, and a big home-built high-capacity one there in the back. I have a video on how I built that one. I'll put a link in the upper right if you're interested. It's not that hard to do. Anybody could build that if they got a little bit of mechanical aptitude, I think. Anyway, let's get the amethyst on here and get it spinning. Because even though it's already been through stage 1, I think we're probably still looking at a little over a month, maybe a month and a half before they're done getting it through the other 2 stages. It's probably going to be about 2 weeks in 220, 2 weeks in at least in pre-polish 400, and then 2 to 3 weeks in polish before we get a good look at those. So, but I think they're going to be gorgeous. We're saving a couple of weeks because we're starting out with them already rough. So that's good. Okay, so we'll let it spin and see what they look like. All right, this is it. Today's the day. The rutilated amethyst in there should be done. We started out in 220, we went through 400, and now it's been in cerium oxide for a couple of weeks. Those pieces of amethyst in there ought to be done, and they ought to be beautiful. So I'm going to do my usual thing. I'm going to dump the tumbler drum out, give it all a good rinse, and then I'll meet you over at the workbench. We'll look at them on the workbench, give a quick look at them. I'll give it an ultrasonic cleaning and then dry them out, and then we'll have a look at them under the studio lights and see just how beautiful they are. So let me get started. I'll get that cleaned out and meet you over at the workbench. All right, here we are over at the workbench. I have dumped the tumbler drum out and rinsed everything off really good. Look at that. Look at that. Some of these pieces are just amazing. Yeah. And down there, got it on the end. Interesting. Piece there. Gold-colored rutile crystals in them. It's a little different than most rutilated quartz I've seen, but oh, look at that. Wow. All right, so let me get this stuff into the ultrasonic cleaner over here, and we'll give it a good 45-minute cleaning. Get all of the polish residue off of them. Nice. Some of these are going to be really showpieces, I think. Looking at them as I'm putting them in here. Yeah. Yeah, some of these are just amazing. Wow. I had no idea you even had this stuff. I know Jim had given me some amethyst. I didn't know it was rutilated. I didn't know it was going to turn out so beautiful. I'd have tumbled it earlier. Thanks again, Jim. All right. Wow. All right, let me get this all in the ultrasonic cleaner, and we'll give it a good cleaning, and then we'll take a look at it under the lights in the studio. All right, I've got it all in the ultrasonic cleaner. Put a little bit of Dawn dishwashing detergent in there, and we'll let it go for about 45 minutes. Yeah, I see polish coming off, so yeah. Get those bits of rutilated amethyst just as clean and clear as they could be. We'll get rid of all the polish residue on them. This water will probably be quite murky by the time 45 minutes is up. I'll give them a final rinse, dry them off, and we'll have a look at them in the studio under good lighting and see just what sort of treasure we've got here. Okay, so here's the batch out of the ultrasonic cleaner and all dried off. So I'm going to take a look at these, but first, up front, I got to say, I've been calling this stuff the wrong thing the whole time. I was thinking that these golden crystals in here were rutile, like rutilated quartz. But I have some rutilated quartz, and I've seen a fair amount of rutilated quartz, and I'm like, these crystals in here don't look like rutile crystals. They're the same color, but they don't look like rutile. So I was doing a little research, and apparently this stuff is called Amethyst Cacoxenite, if I'm pronouncing that right. I am not sure. It comes from Brazil. And now that I see that, I remember, I think Jim told me this was Brazilian amethyst. So yeah, I think this is amethyst was cacoxenite. And those crystals in there are actually goethite, which is an iron oxide, not rutile. Although this stuff can have rutile too. But I don't see any obvious rutile crystals. You know, they're long needle-like things. These are more like little triangles. So yeah. But they're beautiful nonetheless. Very beautiful. I mean, we've got a lot of them here. A lot of these crystals in here. Just pretty much every piece has some. This one you really can't see them too good. They're in there though. Now by and large this stuff took a pretty good polish, given how broken up it was. Yeah, it had already been through stage 1. Jim or somebody had already put it through stage 1. But it has a lot of cracks, a lot of pits. Oh, look at that. And, oh, down here and up here. Look at that. So, you know, there's a lot of surface imperfections, which I was afraid to try too hard to grind out. So I didn't want to lose the lovely inside stuff here. I mean, look at that. That's most of the way to being a freeform cabochon, and I should finish it up. Look at that. That's beautiful. Some of the bigger ones, it's a little harder to see. It's in there. You got to hold it at just the right angle. But the smaller ones, wow. Nice, nice. So yeah, I don't really see any obvious rutile in these, so I haven't looked closely at every single one of them. But from my research on Amethyst Cacoxenite, well, it's a complicated subject. The geologists say that there's actually no cacoxenite in this stuff, and it's just a name that it's been given. And these crystals are goethite, but there seems to be some argument amongst the geologists about it. I'm not going to get involved. I'll just let them argue it out. But every single one of these seems to have some. I mean, it's hard to see in some of them. It's in there. But every single one of these seems to have at least a little bit somewhere down in there. Yeah, the bigger ones, it's harder to see. Maybe just because there's just too much amethyst to look through. Whereas the little shards, boom. Yeah. Shows right up. Wow. What do I see back here? That's shining away. Yeah. Nice. Very nice. So, yeah. So, you know, it's the eternal question here with this stuff. Do I try to keep tumbling it to get the surface perfect? But, of course, you clean up these surface imperfections. Well, there's just more imperfections underneath. Some of these cracks go deep. Some of these pits go deep. It looks like there's more cracks in there that aren't on the surface because I don't feel those. But if I grind down to them, I probably would. So I think I did okay for the most part. Some of these might actually benefit from some more tumbling because it might get us closer to the crystals in there and make them more obvious. I don't know. Hard to say. Where do you stop? Yeah, would I want to throw this one back in the tumbler for a while and try to make those crystals more visible? I don't know. It's a thought, I guess. Of course, if I did that, I'd probably lose the ones on this side if I try to bring these out more. So, I don't know. Do I have a piece that doesn't have any? Well, we found a piece that doesn't seem to have any. I think that's a first. So who knew rust could be so beautiful? Because that's basically what goethite is, a form of rust. Iron oxide. Look at that. That's the prettiest rust you've ever seen. Look how that shines. Nice. Very nice. Yep. Well, as rusty rocks go, I think these are among my favorites. Oh, it's a tiny one, but it's got some fire in it. Oh yeah, look at that. Tiny but mighty. Wow. All right. Well, thank you, Jim, for giving me this stuff. And I'm sorry that I didn't notice the cool patterns in it until more than a year after you gave it to me. I just kind of put that bucket away and forgot about it. And then I was looking for some rocks to tumble. I pulled it out and it's like, oh, wait a minute. What's this? I thought it was just amethyst. No, we got something special here. So thanks again, Jim. And you folks found this video at all interesting, educational, informative, inspirational, whatever, give it a like, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to see my future videos. There'll be lots more rock tumbling, rock hounding, lapidary art stuff. So subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks a lot for watching this one. Bye.